Hello, everybody. Happy 2021. So exciting. Oh, my goodness. We already have 320 people here to watch us launch Xamarin.Forms 5 today. Big party. Throwing a party. It's going to be fun. Got folks from all over the world, all different time zones. If you're new here, this is the Xamarin Community Stand-Up, where we highlight some of the coolest things our community members are doing over the past month. First Thursday of every month, live.net, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Periscope. I think we were on Facebook Live for a minute. We're all over the place. It's very exciting. I'm Maddy Leger. I am kind of like the ringleader. I'm a PM on the Xamarin team. I usually just talk about some cool blogs we found. And I'm here with my colleague, David, and a whole bunch of the Xamarin.Forms team. So Dave, if you want to introduce yourself and pass it off, that would be fantastic.
Sure. We'll do handoffs. So I'm David Ortinau. I do not have the sunshine that apparently Maddy has coming in through her window and out through her eyes. But I'm principal program manager, Xamarin.Forms, Xamarin SDKs. So I will give it to John.
Hey all, welcome back again for me, I guess, and the rest of my team with me here today, which is awesome. So I am the Xamarin.Forms Maui engineering lead. And we have the rest of the wonderful team, or a lot of the rest of the wonderful team here. And I'll pass it off to Easy to start.
Hi, I'm Easy Hart, programmer on the Xamarin.Forms team. You may know me from such features as Visual State Manager and Collection View. And yeah, happy to be here. Happy to be launching 5.0. I'll pass it off to Shane.
Hello, I'm Shane. I'm a developer with Xamarin.Forms, and you might know me from such things as Shell and various other things. So yeah, just bringing in the 5.0 fun with Javier.
Hello. My name is Javier. I'm engineering working at Xamarin.Forms. Maybe you know me about shapes, brushes, and some of the recent UI work. And yeah, really excited to share time with the world community. And I'm going to pass to Rachel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. I'm a software engineer and I just joined the Xamarin.Forms team a few months ago. So you might not have seen me around too much yet, but I'm super excited to see you all around more. And it's a great time to be working on Xamarin.Forms. And I'm going to pass it off to Rui.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rui. I'm from Portugal, working in Xamarin.Forms team for 5 or 6 years. And you might know me recently by Carousel View and mostly the App Center UI test stuff. And now back to Maddy.
Well, can I interject too? Because we have a few members of the team who are missing today. So Matthew Leibowitz, who you may know from Skia Sharp and is now part of the Maui and Forms team as well, and many other things. Stefan, who you probably already know from Forms, is also out. And then I think we're probably at capacity once those others are named. So yeah, just wanted to make sure they got a call out too, because we missed them here.
Well, and there's a whole other extended Xamarin family, right? So
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's too many to name, but
The Zama fam.
But we love them. We need to find ways to get them onto the community stand-up too. So
For sure.
next time.
Yeah. But this is the gang that's really spearheaded Xamarin.Forms 5 and a lot of what you saw in Xamarin.Forms 4 and .NET Maui when it comes to the, cross-platform UI stuff. So this is the group to bother. If you've ever put up a PR, you've ever had it reviewed by someone, they might be on this call. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, we're going to spend the second half of this community stand-up kind of just celebrating Xamarin.Forms 5, chatting with the team. So feel free to start dropping your questions in the chats now. I can't promise I'll find all of them. We're happy to also take questions kind of live as they roll in later in the stream after we do the blogs and the holiday hacks, PRs, some cool themes from Dave. Will we see questions from Twitch and YouTube? Yes. So I have all the chats up individually so I can reply as myself. I also have the conglomerate of the chat up as well. So I can put that up. I can highlight comments. Like Luz has a great point here. Why are we not all wearing themed shirts? I repped out C#, but it's fine. So we'll pull up people's comments. Make sure you ask questions. All right, John's got it.
We got Hacktoberfest. We got a hackathon shirt. I mean, we're the hacking theme, I guess.
I was honestly mostly just worried that everyone else would be wearing theirs, and I didn't want to wear the same thing to a party as someone else. So
we need the high school prom dress Facebook groups where everyone posts a picture, and if you're wearing the same dress as somebody else, they tell you not to buy it. I don't know. If anyone who's ever been in a prom dress Facebook group knows, those should be the people in charge of distributing the COVID vaccine because they're the most organized people I've ever met in my life. That is a tweet funny. I stole. So
my wife actually just sent me like a week ago, like an Instagram message. And it was a picture of a wedding dress. And she's like, 25 years being married. I have never seen this. And it was her wedding dress on somebody else.
Wow.
25 years. What goes around comes around.
Wow.
I like that Sam already got in trouble on our chat.
Oh, did she?
She did?
Yeah, Nightbot, get off the stage. Stop spamming.
Oh, Sam. Samantha's in the chat. You all might know her as the former John Dick of Xamarin.Forms. Now she's kind of the Xamarin SDK dev lead. So not just Forms, but also iOS and Android. So moving up in the world. Very exciting. Psh, she says. Yeah, Sam, you're great. We all know. All right. I'm going to stop wasting everybody's time. We're going to talk about some blogs and some cool plugins and such today. Let me hope that this is working. Zoom it way in. All right. Links. Links for today. I'm posting them in the chat. I'm also going to put them up as a banner. I know people are going to join and not see them, so feel free to ping me at any point. And hopefully I will continue to drop them in the chat so you can all follow along. This is kind of the links we've collected for the month of both blogs and new extensions that have been updated, and also Dave's holiday hacks that he's highlighting, which are tweets that he is going to talk about. Love a good Twitter. So first of all, this is a pretty short one by The First Prototype, which is a Medium blog that I've started to actually follow quite a lot over the past couple months. I think the first time I saw one of the First Prototype Xamarin blogs was like August or September. That could be totally wrong because I have no idea how time works anymore. It's got a great cover photo, but it's about enabling picture-in-picture. So I'm an Android user. Android's had PIP for like years, but Apple got it with the program. And it's actually quite easy to implement in your Xamarin app. So got to check off some permissions, do a little bit of code, but that's it. That's it. Pretty easy. So if you are an app that does video or media or anything, this is a good way for you to make sure that app can stay running when your user wants to switch out of it. Or make sure that other apps can stay open on top of your app. Sweet. All right. Got a blog from Luis. I just dropped a pen, but it's fine. I don't need it. If anyone heard that, that's what that was, though. Collection view inside scroll view. So I was actually trying to do this myself when I was working on an app for .NET Conf, or for whatever the most recent conference was in November, which feels like a lifetime ago. And I couldn't figure out like what settings and like width and height and all the things, row height, like all the things here, how I should be like setting them up to make this look really good. So I kind of just like came up with a janky solution. I'm not a Xamarin.Forms team member, so as much as they all give me amazing advice when I ping them frantically 2 minutes before I have to do something, I'm not an expert, but I saw this and I was like, wow, Luis, I really wish you posted this a month and a half ago, because it would have been really helpful for me. Also, I noticed you got rid of the giant thing up here that says push notifications, and I appreciate you if you're here. So happy New Year. Happy New Year. Cool. Leah Maurice, who previously was blogging mostly on Ask Xammy, her own blog, but now is blogging a lot for Telerik, which is awesome. Came up with this really thorough blog about points to consider before you implement your Xamarin.Forms UI. So UI is like a big thing. We want our apps to look good. Very exciting. So she's kind of got a good checklist, starting with identifying layouts and then what components you can build that layout kind of up with, and then how to divide it into blocks. And of course, how to make sure you have the resources you need to be successful. So there's some good questions you can kind of ask yourself here as you go through this process. We've seen a lot of folks over the past 6 months, a year, pull UIs off of Dribble. You might follow like Kim Philpotts on Twitch. They pull UIs down and they say, I'm going to recreate this in Xamarin.Forms. And there are a lot of really cool examples of that. So yeah, this is a good way if you want to start doing that kind of stuff too, to kind of get yourself started. What's next? Ooh, Fractal blog, embedding a JavaScript interpreter into Xamarin apps. So Matthew, I don't know if you're watching. I have no idea why you'd want to do this, but you did. I guess this is your statement here. They need to update business logic without republishing the app. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, makes sense. Code push otherwise. But this is basically the idea that you can kind of live update your app without your customers having to go and re-download a whole new package or go through the app store or anything, which we see a lot for internal applications, really important. Like if your internal field employees need a critical fix right away, stuff like that. But, a lot of the stuff that we do with Xamarin and Maui, I think everything is going to be machine code. It's going to be that interpreted. It's going to run on the metal because it's a native app. So it's very exciting. But yeah, JavaScript kind of runs above all that and is a little bit funkier. So Jint as a JavaScript interpreter you can use for .NET. And Matt talks you through an example of how to integrate it into your existing Xamarin app. And you can see it's actually not that long of a blog. Doesn't seem like super complicated, and there doesn't look like there's anything like super platform specific either. So if this is a problem that you guys have, oh, Shane's trying to post a link. Shane, if you send me the link, I can post it. Oh wait, I can allow it. Hold on. No, it didn't work. Sorry. Luce is a mod. I was like, how did Luce post the link?
Yep.
It's because she's a mod.
She's got the crown.
We trust her.
I feel like this engine thing is like one of those things every once in a while you're looking for a way to do something like this. So it's really neat that, there's just like an out of the box solution for this now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super awesome. Yeah. And if Matthew Robbins has done it, I mean, the guy who wrote Fractal has done it, so it can't be that janky. It's probably works pretty well. All right. I have 3 packages and things. Dave tweeted out earlier in the week. He helped me out. What would you people like to show on the Xamarin Community Stand-Up this week, and these are some of them that caught my eye. So one is this Xamarin pipeline demo. It's literally just a demo repo for Xamarin UI tests, which I hear about all the time, running in Azure DevOps. That's it. So nothing self-hosted, no App Center. This one in particular, I see a lot of App Center solutions as well. But this is what it does. It builds an APK, signs an APK, publishes it, does unit tests, does UI tests on the Android emulator, and then it publishes them. Super easy. So if this is something that you're trying to do more of, we hear UI testing is something that people try to automate all the time. This is a good repo to reference. And maybe we'll learn some things on how we can make it easier too. Of course. All right. I saw this Get Sentry for Xamarin. I think I saw it early in December. I don't quite remember, but Sentry is an application monitoring SDK. So think like along the lines of an App Center. It's got a very pretty website. That's all I really know about it, besides that it's application monitoring. But we now have an SDK for Xamarin apps, including all of the platforms supported by Xamarin Essentials. So pretty cool. And you can also get this info on Android and iOS, like internal memory and RAM of your users' devices. So it's really, really powerful monitoring. Yeah, and it's good Xamarin SDK, ready to roll.
Yeah, so I talked a little bit with Bruno about this, who is one of the main people, as you can see, they're doing the support here. And so he was making sure that he got like the bindings working for the actual native Sentry SDK bits and everything. So they had like a .NET SDK, but now this combines like the actual native Android and iOS bits into the .NET one and Xamarin in general. So a lot of work went into this. This looks really cool. I need to try this out myself.
Yeah, love it. All right, last one. This one I actually got as an email, I believe, from, I think, Wakim. Wakim, please email me if I totally butchered your name. But it is an extension for Visual Studio for Mac and Windows for handling multilingual support. So we've had this problem on the Xamarin tooling teams before, where we have a bunch of regex files and we just kind of have to like figure out how to automate it in the best way, and the IDEs play differently. But this is an extension that lets you just name all your regex files a certain way, and then it'll translate it with Google Translate or Microsoft Translate, export it so you can review it, and you can re-import it, and it's just really a naming convention that does it all for you. So there you go. That's it. Super easy peasy. Big fan of localizing apps. It's something we do for all of our products at Microsoft. You know, localization is a big part of our checklist to being able to ship something. So anything that makes that easier and almost like mindless for people, I would say is a good tool. So that's it. I'm going to post the links again. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Dave, you let me know when you're ready for me to share your screen.
Yeah, go ahead and throw it up there. And maybe while I'm doing this, just a reminder to everybody, if you have questions or you want to celebrate anything you're excited about as part of Xamarin.Forms 5, throw that into the chats. And Maddy, you can be, gathering a list so that when I'm done here, we can jump into that. Cool. So, before the holidays or, mid-December, I sent out a tweet. Here it is, asking, actually, let me, wrong screen. Wrong browser, that is. Here we go. With sound effects. What are you working on in December? Because I always like to take my holiday breaks, or at least kind of the quieter times at the end of December, to work on some things. So Matt Goldman here says he's building a demo for a talk he's given. And maybe he already gave it, because I don't even know what the date is here. The 4th. Oh, no, it's coming up. So Matt, let us know where this talk is, if it's going to be live streamed. Hopefully, I would imagine everything's kind of still virtual, but people can join in. So multi-tenant automatic configuration of multi-tenant apps. That sounds way beyond my pay grade. I probably could not do that myself. I should perhaps attend this and learn something. Kang Ho from the Samsung team, has brought Blazor mobile binding support along with one of his co-workers here to Tizen. So that's really cool. As a matter of fact, as I was looking through the Xamarin.Forms 5 release notes, I saw a ton of commits and contributions from different developers in Seoul, Korea from the Samsung team. So that is really cool. I love that. Javier, who is with us today, who is on vacation still. So he's here on his personal time. But he's been taking some work, which I'll highlight in just a second, that is using graphics APIs to render the visuals for different controls. So if you want Fluent, you want Material, you want Cupertino even, what would it take to use drawn graphics APIs to render all those things in a very performant way? So we'll be talking more about this. This is a really, really cool experiment. I think we're very excited about it, primarily because we hear this a lot from you, our developers and our customers and our community, that you need a way to deliver that consistent UI across platforms, and you like the performance of what you can typically get from something like Skia, but maybe you don't want to pay the price of Skia. So what really is the magic behind this is a project here from John Lipsky, who works over at GitHub now, used to be much closer to the Xamarin team, but is now over at GitHub, and he and James Clancy have been working together on this system graphics library. And this is an abstraction, if I go ahead and click through to it. It's an abstraction of different graphics libraries, and you can see the supported platforms here. So when you're on iOS, you can choose between Core Graphics and Skia. When you're on Android, it's Android Graphics or Skia, and on down the line, right? So you as a developer can choose which is the best solution for you. And then you combine that with what Javier has here. Boy, I can't click on anything. What happened? Ah! Edge is frozen. Can you still see me? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still see and hear you. Edge is just...
This is what happens when you're on the Canary build, I guess. All right, so that is cool. You can go ahead and stop sharing my screen maybe, and then I'll figure out what's going on there.
Yeah.
Where is... You give me the link back to the deal, and I'll open up a different browser to the URL list.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me bring that banner. Boom. Where? Oh, I hope it's still on my clipboard. Please still be on my clipboard.
Oh, it came back. It came back.
Oh, good.
Right,
good. He's back. And I found it. Good.
Everybody breathe easy. Breathe easy. All right, let's continue on. So we'll be talking more about the graphics stuff coming up. It's going to be very exciting. Big plans, big plans. So what's Paul been up to? Paul is very active, I've noticed, over on the Facebook Xamarin, one of the Facebook Xamarin user groups. I don't spend time on Facebook. So I occasionally check it to see where my dad is and where my mom is. That's my tracker for them. You know what I'm saying? But Paul's very active over there. Thank you, Paul, for helping people out there and being active in that community. But he's been doing this, and this is something I hear about from customers from time to time, where you're basically generating your whole app runtime, or even but not really build time, but runtime, so that it kind of just scaffolds everything out based on what you as a administrator need. So he's been doing this, and he's using Xamarin.Forms, the Xamarin Community Toolkit, and is looking at Blazor once he's got some things working. So that's really cool. Let's see, Jonathan Muskian. That's a really cool name. Built an app that monitors network connectivity, which is something that I had to go figure out recently. And I used the Essentials API, which was so stinking easy, and did that in one of my 60-second tutorials. By the way, if you haven't noticed my 60-second tutorials up on YouTube, go check them out. I'm looking for really easy things that can be done very quickly. And they kind of meet the criteria of, hey, did you know you can do this? And it's not very hard. So this looks cool. Monitoring connectivity and reporting it. Lived to tell about it. That's always good, right? At the end of any little exploration into code, we live to tell about it. Bodan has been working on some font icon related things, and been using it quite a bit, and then occasionally runs into issues. So I appreciate him constantly blogging, hey, here's how you overcome these problems. And then one of his friends and coworkers, I believe coworkers, I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure, is the one of the authors behind Magic Gradients. So recently has brought animation to Magic Gradients. So if you want to kind of see something that goes above and beyond what gradient support we have, and this was out even before we had brush support for gradients in Xamarin.Forms. So this has been around for quite a while. So really cool stuff. Check this out. It kind of goes above and beyond, kind of like your pancake view, right? It takes a frame and just puts it on steroids and makes it do really cool stuff. Mahmoud has been working on a Xamarin.Forms testing library. So it's a React-inspired thing. If this is something that you might be interested in and you would like to see, it looks like he's got a couple of replies from people already saying you're interested in it. Chime in, help him out, discuss what you could do to participate with him. All right, cool. So I'm ready to start talking about Xamarin.Forms 5. I will really quickly. The blog post is up, so go hit the blog, check it out. The main thing I really want to highlight here is I went and grabbed, not everybody likes to use their face or their icon, so GitHub generates the bots. But thank you so much. We had so many contributors, not only from a code standpoint, but also reviewers this time around. So many community reviewers that participated and left their comments and interacted with us through our Discord channel and other places to say, hey, here are my thoughts. What do you think? And kind of how can I best help as a reviewer of PRs? Don't just go randomly making comments necessarily, but engage with us, and we'd be happy to put you to work and get you involved in that sort of thing as well. So thank you so much to everybody that has participated. To those of you who are here and watching and perhaps participated by grabbing the pre-releases and putting those into your apps. That's very valuable. And then filing issues. When I noticed my end of year GitHub contributions and whatever, end of year thing that GitHub did, or somebody did on top of the GitHub API, I think is what it was. I noticed that my main contribution was filing issues. So that's what I do. Couple of things I will mention as I've already seen some comments in the chat. Hey, what happened to Expander? Where are the C# UI markup extensions? You upgraded to 5.0 and now your code's like, nope, don't have that. Those are now in the community toolkit. So that is Expander, C# UI extensions, and the media element. Those three things were moved over there so that they can have time to continue adding features, maturing, because what Xamarin.Forms 5 is now is going to be a stable release with service releases through until we release .NET MAUI. So a couple other things. Make sure you're using Visual Studio 2019. This is the min requirement now. UI Web View has been completely ripped out so that you don't get those nagging warnings from the Apple review process. WK Web View has been the standard for quite a while. So if you do have a dependency on UI Web View, then you're going to need to bring that back yourself, grab the code, and bring it back into your project. The old renderer code is all still up there, and you can go grab it from a branch. I mentioned that data pages and theme packages. These are all the warnings on the label, right? It is a major release, so you can expect some changes. Data pages and themes were previews that were done a long time ago, and we've continued shipping them, and we don't need to be shipping them anymore. They're no longer supported. They really never were supported. So you shouldn't have been using them anyway. Based on the numbers that we saw, nobody was using them. Master detail page, that naming is deprecated. It's now called flyout page. Bigger please, Cliff says. How's that?
There you go.
How's that?
Noise.
It is in your face. Go read the blog, Cliff. Click the link, man. So yeah, it's a naming change. Your code will still work as is, but I recommend we recommend that you go ahead and adopt the flyout page naming so that future releases, you don't have to worry about it. It's all going to work. So lots of cool stuff in here. Brushes, carousel view, drag and drop is in here, indicator view, radio button with control templates, shapes and paths. I was mentioning this, I think on a podcast I recorded with Matt Sokup and James Montemagno. I never really needed or thought I needed a radio button until we added it. And now I see it everywhere. It's like, my kids, they're like, man, Teslas are everywhere. Well, Teslas are everywhere because you started looking for them, right? Shapes and paths are in here. And you say, well, some of these things have been around a little bit. Yeah, but they were preview features, right? This is the stable release. We've pulled that experimental flag off. And now we're saying these are stable releases. Come use them. Swipe view is in there. I mentioned the UI web view being removed, so there's a link to the doc there. Plenty of samples here that we've developed. These are mostly mine because, hey, I wrote the blog posts, so they're my samples. Anybody else has any samples, feel free to add them, and I will add them to the deal here. And then we've got a bunch of blogs, and look at those beautiful 60-second videos. Now I feel like I'm just.
What are those, Dave?
What are they? So they are not all of them are 60 seconds. Some of them are like 2 minutes. Some of them are 3 minutes. But it's just, hey, here are all the cool things that are in Xamarin.Forms 5 and more. And here's how you can use them very quickly with a bunch of links to documentation and code. So introduces you very quickly to these things and kind of just builds awareness that, did you know? You can do this. It's super easy. Custom fonts. Did you know how easy it is to use custom fonts now with embedding? Did you know how easy it is to do a circle image cropping or any cropping for that matter? Any path can be used to clip. Any shape can be used to clip. And so that's really cool. And then you might recognize this, Maddy. We did a .NET Conf presentation on Xamarin.Forms 5. And then we had a early Xamarin.Forms 5 preview on the Xamarin Show. So all these resources are here at your fingertips to help you be successful with this new release. So let's bring in our guests of honor. We're now actually exactly halfway through the show, through the stand-up. What questions do we have for the team? Or maybe if you want, well, I'll let Maddy, you decide. Do we want to start with questions? Do we want to go around the room and have the team share some of their feelings and inner thoughts about the release?
That's a great question. The chat has been blowing up. I haven't seen anything that is too crazy on questions yet. So keep them rolling. Lots of excitement about drag and drop. Lots of excitement about Xamarin.Forms 5 and Maui and when are things coming. But Luce has a great question. What's everyone's favorite feature of Xamarin.Forms 5? And for the sake of this, I'll also allow you to talk about things from the Xamarin Community Toolkit, just because the Xamarin Community Toolkit is awesome. But yeah, let's start. Who am I gonna pick on? Let's start. Rachel, you're the newest to the team, so I'm going to pick on you.
And she just recently built a cool little app.
She did.
Probably talk about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, what's your favorite feature of Xamarin.Forms 5?
Oh boy, this is hard. Well, you said I could choose something from the community toolkit. So something I used for the little app I was working on was the snack bar, the toast message. And that was a community contribution. And it was really cool because I was trying to look for something like that in Xamarin.Forms. And then I saw that it was something we had in our toolkit.
Cool.
Yep.
Great. All right, you can pick on who's next. I won't bully everybody.
Ooh, okay. All right. I pick easy.
I mean, my favorite feature is always stability. So that's always the drum I'm beating. But if we're talking about new stuff, I think the one that I'm kind of most excited about, because it answers the most user concerns, is the sort of path we're opening up with what we did with Radio Button, with the templated stuff. Because it's always been a balance between, okay, I want this to look native, or I want everything to look the same on all the platforms, and we want to accommodate both of those. And so going this direction with the controls is going to give us the option to do all of those, and for people to pick and choose. And honestly, it based on all of the awesome like shape stuff that Javier did and which I'm sure, somebody else will talk about because it's amazing. But based on that stuff and the other control template work he had already done, we were able to put together like it was surprisingly super easy to get an implementation together. Took a little bit of work to get all the testing and some of the bugs ironed out. But I mean, it's going to be, if we can start applying that to other controls, then we're opening up a whole world of possibilities for making everything look exactly the way people want it. So that's super exciting stuff. I got to pick on somebody. All right, I'll pick on Rui next then.
Hey, so I think my favorite feature right now is the shapes also, because it allows you to do so much that was really hard. And if you have a little of creativity and you use a SVG editor, you can actually draw anything you want on screen now with Xamarin.Forms and without any plugins. So props to Javier to add that feature. The other one is that I'm excited is having UWP on Shell on UWP. So because Shell, it's the way forward, in my opinion, to do applications and having everything covered. We just are missing macOS, that will come on Maui. But other than that, it's also a great feature, and it's now in all platforms that we are supporting. So now I can, Javier can continue.
Well, my answer will be a mix between easy and real, because I think that probably shapes is one of my favorite latest features, because allow you to draw and cover many possibilities that before was hard to do without, custom renderer or maybe Skia. But from Xamarin.Forms 5, I think that probably the new radio button with the control template support, it's a very nice way and a great idea to have a balance between choose if you want to use all the performance and everything related with the native control, or if you want something totally custom, you are open and able to do it. So I think that I really, really love that. So that's my two ones. Just one was very, very hard to choose. So next one, Shane.
Yeah, hello. Let's see. I'm going through the release notes. It's been so long. I'm like, okay, what am I?
It's a long set of notes, man.
We're trying to remember what I'm excited about here. Yeah, I mean, to sort of echo what Easy was saying, the radio button one was a really exciting one just because there was such a synergy of efforts there as far as the drawing APIs and everything like that. So, I kind of had some special excitement for that because I worked with James to get the checkbox control working, which will be awesome to roll that over to the drawing APIs, because that one was tricky to get working all natively, and doesn't really give you sort of the level of customization on the radio button. So yeah, radio button is just kind of, there's a lot of 5.0 goodness that came together to sort of make that happen, like what that represents. So I don't know, I just think that it's neat when sort of things like that all come together. Yeah, the drag and drop was really fun to work on. So that was an exciting feature to work on through all the different platforms. Let's see, some of the shell ones that kind of came in to see if people, just to kind of highlight, deferred navigation is pretty exciting. So now inside of shell, inside the navigating event, you can basically pause any navigation. So go to async, the user switching tabs, clicking the back button, pretty much anything. So you can pause it, do what you need to do, and then start it back up. So I think that's something that's been missing a lot with sort of the navigation pages. There was a lot of sort of navigation overhaul work that was done there. So there was kind of some neat stuff we did with more intelligently swapping out your stacks. So, how sometimes in navigation pages, you'd have to remove intermediate pages to push other ones to make it kind of smooth. Well, like Shell kind of tries to do that now in a way that you don't see any of the middle pages get removed, which I don't know. I thought that was kind of fun. Let's see. I think those were kind of the main ones that we worked through. Oh, of course. And then I don't even know why I didn't bring these ones up, but I was pretty excited at this point because I think at this point the shell flyout I think I would say is at the at a fairly final complete stage of customization. So we added flyout footer finally, and then that was a PR from, I think, can I search fast enough while I'm talking? I think it was Daniel, I want to say. Andrew, there you go. Sorry, Andrew, so close. The footer was really exciting. So that kind of pushed us into also getting the content template. So at this point, you can fully replace the content, like the items, and you can bind those to a property called flyout items, which implements notify collection changed events and everything. So that just that just kind of gets all wired up and works, which is exciting. So yeah, I think those are the ones that are jumping to my mind as I'm kind of looking through stuff here. Yeah. Oh, flyout. Let's see. Kind of a lesser one that probably snuck in was the flyout width and height. So you can set the shell flyout width and height now, which is also a neat thing for dual screen. So you can sort of shape it to the size of the pane that you want. Yeah. So those are the ones that are coming to mind at this point. Let's see. I think we have Rui and John still to go. So all right. Let's go to Rui's saying no.
Rui already went.
Oh, okay. Okay. John then.
Yeah, I think the one that people haven't talked too much about yet, but I saw some comments go by, was the font support. Now, let's be real, we're all kind of lazy developers, right? That's why we're developers. So we want to do things more easily and more quickly. So I know for myself, like using font icons is fantastic, but it's always been like, oh, do I really want to like add a font to every platform project and figure out how to map that properly in my XAML and all that stuff? So having the embedded font is just a big time saver. And I know personally in my own app, one of the things that I don't know if I'm just late to the party, but what I've been doing is ripping out all these places where I maybe had like an image in a grid that was beside, some text. And maybe I did that in a couple places to make like a nice like body of text with some images around it. And now I'm just ripping that apart and using like a single label with formatted text and using a bunch of different font icons in the spans to achieve that same effect, but with way fewer controls too. So it's kind of a win-win. It's a cleaner code, faster, and less of a view hierarchy. So fonts is my one of my kind of underdog favorites for the 5 release.
Yeah, I was shocked nobody brought that up because that was my like lifesaver when I was doing some app dev in the fall. Because I'm also lazy. So I love also all the ones people are bringing up in the chat too. Yeah. My goodness.
I was surprised to see how many people mentioned drag and drop. And this is why I love talking to our community and our developers, is for those moments when I'm actually surprised. Because drag and drop is one of those things that was added really in support of the Duo. For dual screen use cases, it was kind of something that when we were working with the Surface team and the design team to make sure we had parity of functionality across all the development stacks. Drag and drop was one of those things that we didn't have, so we filled that gap for that. And now I see so many wonderful comments from people saying that they're enjoying it here, so that's really cool. I have a question, Maddy, for the engineering team.
Oh.
So I'll ask the question and then I'll share some of my favorite tidbits. The question is, what was, if you can think back, I know it's months and months of work, but what is one particular challenge that you were able to overcome in developing a particular feature, overcoming some nagging issue in Xamarin.Forms, or just, some celebrate your heroic moment or an aha moment that you're like, oh, it didn't occur to me that we could do it this way, and you figured that out. So I'll let you all think about that for a bit while I go on my little rant of the things that I really enjoy. So I love Shell because
Uh-oh. Dave freeze?
when I've used past, what?
You froze,
Oh, you-
but you're back.
Yeah, you came back.
That's
You said Shell.
I
You said
love Shell because
Yeah, just totally start over. I love Shell because that's all we got.
all right. Love Shell because when in the past I've used tab page or master detail page, now called frozen shell, right?
Let it go.
It's so much code. It's just I don't like writing so much code. I chose a cross-platform solution to my problems because I wanted it to be easier. I want it to be less code. I want it to solve problems for me. And I'm speaking purely as a very selfish developer, right? So I love that I can now do a footer. I love that I now have shell content and I can swap out all the content on the fly out. I'm very much looking forward to integrating the tab view in the Xamarin Community Toolkit with shell functionality. Yes, we do have a full Xamarin.Forms workshop available. I love that. I really like the URI navigation. I like being able to tag simple strings onto the end of the query string and have them automatically populating my binding context when I navigate. You can do that going forwards and backwards, by the way. I love the simple little XAML markup things that we've added for doing things like font images. We also have the new syntax, which really isn't, I guess, a 5 thing, but the new syntax for row and column definitions in grid. That stuff is really good. So all these little things that reduce the number of keystrokes that I have to make, but get me to my solution faster. That flyout width thing, if you see the screenshot from the holiday hacks where I have my Zappy app, I think it was a Zappy app, maybe it was another app, I don't know. But it's the landscape iPad screenshot. I was able to really constrain what I wanted the flyout to take up on that screen by using that. So those things are all just super cool. I really enjoy it. I could go on and on and on. But now back to my question. So does anybody on the team want to share a story from your foxhole of developing Xamarin.Forms 5?
What was the question exactly again?
Just any like, hey, because right, you're an engineer on the team, you're building a product that everybody loves to use that's watching. Share kind of a behind the scenes story of some problem that you overcame. You were happy, a heroic moment that you had, or an aha moment. You're like, oh, I didn't really think we could do it this way. Kind of like Easy when you mentioned the significance of the control templates. That kind of those kind of moments. Anybody?
Yeah, not that great like aha moment, but interesting moment was that we had. So I was working on Carousel, and then David was also always asking, "We want loop. Our users want it to loop." And basically, we had to rewrite the carousel to support loop. One thing that we thought that it was an easy feature to add, in the end, was not that easy. And also with the help of Easy on UWP and fixing some bugs with it still. But basically, we got it done, but it wasn't. Sometimes we think just this little feature, it's a Boolean that will loop or not, will be easier. It wasn't that easy. So that was my moment. I remember that.
Yeah, there's always those things that seem like they'll be so easy and they're just not. Sorry for causing you so much trouble. But
it's for the greatest good of our users. So I totally understand that.
That's right.
Yeah. What else?
I don't really have as good of a direct example of this because I joined the team very late in the 5.0 stages of things. But I think because of that, my aha moment was kind of just how smoothly this team has operated and been able to pull this thing together without, a single person kind of being the person who has to like manage and lead everything. Like, it's such an awesome team. Everyone has done a great job pulling this release together. And it's like, I mean, I get to be here. I haven't done anything significant code-wise. I don't write code anymore anyway. So
anybody could run this team is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. So, but no, really, I think it's a really good like testament to the product and to the people who make it. It's just like everybody is helping each other and knows how to get stuff done, and this is the result of that. So, kudos to everyone.
Yeah, it's a pretty good team, and a lot of this team was remote before most of the world was remote. So, I think it's made us good when things kind of stopped happening in person. This team was pretty solid.
I don't think anybody on this team actually went into an office. Did anybody actually go into an office? No.
We were remote before it was cool.
Oh, that's right, Maddie. You were the one.
And Rachel was in Boston, no?
Well, she will be in Boston.
No. Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I will be.
Yeah. She'll be our woman on the ground in Boston.
Rachel and I are
At
going
the
to
water
throw
cooler.
parties at everybody.
Well, Easy, you unmuted. Did you think of a story?
Just a realization that hit late night that fixed it. I finally, after staring at it and screwing with it for like, I don't know, probably endless hours, realized where all the internal consistency exceptions were coming from in the iOS collection view that we had written dozens of workarounds for. So the best part about this entire release was actually doing a service release for 4.8 where we got to delete a whole bunch of code that we didn't need that was causing us problems. So always happy to delete code to make things better. That's always the best.
Absolutely. I think we can all agree on that.
Cool. Anyone else? Any other good stories? I can pepper you all with questions. I also am, of course, keeping my eye on the chat. Whatever questions you have for the team. Funny stories, favorites, least favorites.
Shane leaned in and then unmuted.
Oh, Shane, go for it.
You're now on the hook.
Let's see. I don't really have any big stories. I mean, Shell was fun this time around because a lot of the stuff we did was just from customer feedback. There was some neat accessibility stuff, work that we've been doing. So Rachel's been doing a lot of good work, helping to push a lot of the accessibility forward and sort of evolving ourselves there. So we have a few sort of tools and things we're going to start putting together, hopefully with like the toolkit. So that was some exciting stuff. I can't think of anything specifically if there was like an aha moment really. I don't know. Most of my aha moments are when I can get the YAML to build, but that's about it. Yeah, otherwise, no, I think, yeah. I just wanted to highlight some of the accessibility stuff.
Javier, did you have a story, or I can ask another question?
Oh, I have a question too.
Okay.
I don't remember any very big history, but I remember when I sent the first PR related with brushes. And just after the press the send button, I start testing a little bit more between different devices. And I discovered that the orientation was inverted between Android and iOS. So that's the typical moment that you say, why I was testing all the full day, why I discovered just after press the send button, why is happening that to me? Yeah, that's happening sometimes, but yeah, not a big story, but I remember that day.
It's not just you. It happens to all of us.
Yeah, that reminds me of like on Android when you can't figure something out and you figure out that somewhere you missed a pixel conversion. Those are, yeah, that's another one that'll bite you. That, yeah, it takes you forever, and then you're like, why? And then you finally just figure out.
It reminds me of watching like the extra stuff on like a Shrek DVD when they show you how like Donkey suddenly looks without hair or something, or when his hair is like all blown out because somebody missed a semicolon or whatever, you know, in the rendering. So yeah, that's hilarious.
It does make me happy though to think of all the Xamarin.Forms users who don't even have to know anything about device independent pixels or any stuff like that in Android. Hopefully we have covered that abstraction for you and you will never have to know it because it is a pain.
Pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Anyone else want to share a story? Dave, I want to interject with a question from the chat and then we can get to your list. No more stories. Great. I just saw this pop up. This was in my list also of questions I wanted to ask from Simple Tutors. What is everyone most excited about regarding .NET MAUI? Besides the sun and the beach and all that. Just kidding. If you're new to .NET MAUI, if you haven't heard of it before, .NET Multi-Platform App UI, it's the evolution of Xamarin.Forms, kind of on the .NET 6 timeframe. So it runs with .NET 6 libraries. It's the stack to rule all stacks, the UI to rule all UIs, whatever you want to call it. Check out last month's community stand-up for more info. And these are the folks that are going to build it. So what's everyone looking forward to?
What are we looking forward to? Oh, so many things. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, a lot of the single project stuff, kind of finally being able to just get to a point where there's sort of like a large homogenization across the platforms, you know, to like the single structure, you know, because like, I mean, that's how most NuGets have been built in projects for the last 4 or 5 years. So it'll be nice to really have a good support for that. A lot of the Net 6 stuff that's enabling that is really exciting. A lot of the handler stuff is really exciting, being able to sort of gut all the useful parts of the renderers and organize them into a more consistent, palatable format that's much more testable. So yeah, we're gonna there's a large boost in the ability to sort of focus in our testing better with those structures. Yeah, those are kind of some of the highlights I'm thinking through. Really excited to rethink the app models so that the app models are more consistent between the platforms. That one's going to be really cool once that one's out there. That'll be neat. So yeah, those are the ones that are coming to my mind. And then yeah, performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all excited about the performance stuff.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to say, was performance and fast startup times. So the idea is here, and what we are pushing a lot is to try to make it as fast as we can without introducing any regressions of what you are used to be able to do in Xamarin.Forms. So that will be a challenge, but also will be very rewarding if we can introduce like a 1 second or even less 50 millisecond startup time on Android, especially on Android. That's where we care the much. The other thing is we are looking at a little bit to how ASP.NET Core, for example, does the startup and the conventions they are using, and using some of the features from the dependency injection. That also is something that for me it's exciting to be more in par with the other teams on .NET that are using it. So that's one of the things I also wanted to look forward to try and see if we can pull it into MAUI.
Yeah, and getting to rewrite some of the internals a little bit with the benefit of a bunch of years of hindsight for what did not work for forms. So there's some layout stuff that we're working on that we can rewrite, knowing what we know now, fix a couple things that we know weren't quite correct or didn't quite work that we've had to support for years, and we can drop some of that stuff and make it faster and improve our testing story a little bit. So we're very much looking forward to that.
I'm also looking forward to the underlying consistency in the .NET platform. I think things will operate a lot nicer in terms of like how your projects are referenced in the IDEs and everything, because now we're going to SDK style projects for consistent with the rest of .NET across the board. Command line stuff like .NET build and .NET run, those types of things that will just work the same as everywhere. And so I think there's a lot of value in that whole ecosystem, just having that consistency and having the same expectation no matter where you're developing in .NET.
Yeah, and another one is remove, like Lizzie was saying, remove all the legacy code. So we have, for example, app compact, non-app compact stuff, and having just a couple of renders that are very light will also allow us to be really more fast to fixing bugs, because we don't have to fix it in multiple places. The other thing I saw here on the chat, and it's really one of the things that we want to also push, is being able to, using the .NET tools, you should be able to do like with Visual Studio Code and also do Xamarin.Forms development there. And that will also bring a lot of users to try Xamarin.Forms, because it's lighter and Visual Studio Code has lots of people using it.
Yeah, and then to go a little bit back in time, imagining that Stefan was here, a lot of the stuff that he's been working on has been in the hot reload arena. So really pushing the incremental hot reload features. So like, that stuff is awesome. Like it's the whole, instead of your whole page like flickering, as you're typing your text, it's updating incrementally and things like that. So there was a lot of work, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but there was a lot of work that went into 5.0 to further enable that. And so we're still pushing that story even more. So especially with 16.9, there should come a lot of really, really powerful updates to the hot reload story. Maddy could probably elaborate a little more on some of maybe the other parts of that, and then maybe even comment a little bit on C#.
Yeah, we're coming up to the top of the hour, so we're running close on time, but I know this comment just came in. What about hot reload for C#? Well, I would look in the Maui timeframe. So that's planned. The dream is that with Maui kind of being built on the formal like .NET stack and everything, we can leverage some of the edit and continue technology and make it more modern to work more like what we kind of look at as a hot reload now. So you will have a C# hot reload, C#, the Boston's coming out, C# hot reload.
How about them apples?
.NET 6 in Maui. Possibly a preview around the time that Maui comes out stable. That's the dream. But we'll of course share more about that as we get there. And of course, hot reload's the best. Love it. But yeah, 16.9 is a big release for it. With Xamarin.Forms 5, Stefan had done a ton of work to kind of make hot reload better from the SDK side. So you can flip into it now in 16.8. It's called changes only mode in Windows tools, options, debugging, hot reload, Xamarin.Forms.
Just search.
That's a good point. So
I don't ever go digging. Just start typing.
Alrighty. Final thoughts? Anyone in the chat? Any final goodbyes while we're here? We want to make sure this team has a meeting right now.
Yeah, we do. We're all late for a team meeting. I just want to say thank you to the whole team for all your hard work day in and day out. Some of you all also show up because you have the same hobby I do, which is coding on the weekends. And it's awesome. Hopefully it's rewarding for you to hear from the community, how excited they are and what they're actually building that's actually making impact in the world and people's lives. That stuff certainly keeps me going every day, knowing that we're doing some good, and we're making people's days easier, but we're also making people's lives a little bit better. So thank you as a team. I love working with you. You're awesome. Thank you for not fixing my bugs. Thank you for fixing my bugs. And adding my loop. Got to have my loop.
PR is welcome, David.
Well,
Wow.
once upon a time, I was told, nah, we don't want your code.
All right, everybody. Same here. Thanks to the community. Thank you to the team. Thanks, everybody. Happy 2021. It's going to get better. We're doing great. Happy January. And we'll see you the first Thursday of February for the next community stand-up.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
Where's the bye video? I found it. Bye.
Bye.